So I promised to share my cheesecake recipe, and I'm definitely going to do that since I received so many positive comments about it and such great feedback. I have shared this before, but I'm going to post this to my YouTube, which is linked in my bio here on TikTok. I basically have taken all of my cooking videos from TikTok and transferred them over to YouTube so that they're in a convenient and easy place to find, because it can be so irritating to try and scroll on someone's profile to find a specific video unless you save it. And I don't know about y'all, I save videos all the time. Okay, but I forget to go look at them. I'll save it and be like, ooh, I'm going to try that. And then I'm all like, whoop. So let's get into cheesecake. So I always bake my cheesecakes in a cake pan, as you guys have seen. And I start out by tracing a piece of parchment paper using the cake pan as my guide. And then I cut it out and I spray a little bit of Pam on the bottom of the cake pan. And then I put the parchment paper circle in there, and then I spray the entire cake pan down with Pam. Next comes the crust. The crust is really simple. I do 1 cup of graham cracker crumbs to 1/4 of a cup of AP flour to 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar to like 2 or 3 tablespoons of cinnamon. It's really your preference depending on how much you like cinnamon. And then I melt half a stick of butter, pour it in there, and mix all of that together. Press your crust into the bottom of your cake pan. I usually use an 8-inch or a 10-inch cake pan. You can use those work. If you're using the 8-inch, make sure that it's tall, that it's a 4-inch tall cake pan. Those are the ones that I usually use just to make sure that I do not overflow it. So pop your crust in there, press it down, pop it in the oven at 325 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes until it's golden brown, and remove it. Next, you're going to take 2.5 pounds of room temperature soft cream cheese and put it in a stand mixer with 12 ounces of granulated sugar and a teaspoon of salt. Paddle that together on low speed until it starts to combine. Shut off your mixer, scrape it down, and continue to paddle it on medium to high speed for 5 to 8 minutes, stopping the mixer every couple of minutes and scraping it down to make sure that any lumps of cream cheese are getting worked out. You want a nice, smooth mixture of cream cheese and sugar before you proceed to the eggs. After you get that all mixed in, you're going to come in with 6 whole eggs and 2 egg yolks at room temperature. Add them in a few at a time. Mix in the eggs at low speed. Stop your mixer. Scrape it down between every increment of eggs. After you get your eggs added in, I like to come in with a tablespoon or 2 of vanilla extract. Really add it in to your heart's desire. Followed by 1/3 of a cup of sour cream. You can also add in a splash of lemon juice or the zest of 1 lemon if you choose to do so. And then I mix that all together, remove it from the stand mixer. I pour my batter into the crust and I bake it at 200 degrees for approximately 4 to 4.5 hours, or until a thermometer is inserted into the cheesecake and reads 165 degrees to 175 degrees Fahrenheit. As long as that's above 165 degrees, you're fine, but you don't want it to go so high that the eggs start to scramble. And you'll know that you've gone too far in the oven if your cheesecake top souffles up a lot and splits. The top of your cheesecake should not split. It's okay, it's normal that it rises up during the baking process, and then when you take it out, that generally settles down. I allow the cheesecake to cool for a few hours at room temperature, pop it into the refrigerator overnight, take it out, run a knife around the edge, flip it upside down on a cake board, and then I like to run a blowtorch across the top of the cake pan and around the edges to warm it up, and then the cheesecake just slides right out of the cake pan. This is not a fancy blowtorch. It's nothing expensive. It's $20 at Home Depot. Super, super cheap. And it's a great tool to have in the kitchen, especially if you are baking. You can use it to brulee things. You can use it to heat up buttercream in a stand mixer. It's very, very handy, and I definitely recommend a blowtorch in the kitchen. And it's fun. Now, that is my basic cheesecake base. You can flavor it any way that you want. For the specific caramel cheesecake that I did, I made my caramel cheesecake, or my caramel, which that recipe can be found on YouTube. I added in about half of that batch, and then I added in my dark chocolate, and I just folded it in. I really eyeballed it. When it comes to flavors, you can do mixed fruit, you can use jams, you can have fun with your cheesecake and flavor it to your personal taste. Just be aware of how much liquid you might be adding or how much additional sugar you might be adding. Bake times might need to be increased or adjusted a little bit depending on what you are adding to that cheesecake batter. I hope that this helps, and I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day and have a beautiful week.